welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. I just recently bought this Southern Magnolias background stamp from Picket Studios because I think it's really beautiful and I wanted to show a few different ways to use it. So we're going to create 3 cards today using this in different ways. So our first card today, I'm going to use it in what I would probably consider to be the most obvious way to use it, and that is just stamping the whole background and colouring it. And we can see how beautiful that looks. And then I will create another couple of cards using it in probably less obvious ways. So this is the first time I've used this stamp, and it's a large stamp. So I'm using my stamp wheel stamp positioning tool so that I can re-stamp. Large stamps, often you kind of miss a bit the first time, so I would always use a stamp positioner with a stamp this large anyway, and particularly when it's a new stamp, there's sometimes areas of the stamp that don't take the first time because it's still got maybe a bit of residue from the manufacturing process or something like that on it. And you find that with a lot of stamp companies. So now we've got a nice impression, and I'm going to colour it using this Rock Garden set of Altenew markers. So lots of people have lots of different colouring methods. I like to cover my area with the palest of my set of colours. The Altenew markers are really good because they come in sets. So in this one we've got 3 colours with 4 shades of each. And so it's really easy to know what you're doing. So I'm just going over the whole thing with the palest shade, and then I'll add in some shading and extra colour with the darker shades. And I mostly like to work my way up the colours from the lightest to the darkest. Sometimes I do change that out a little bit, but as a general rule that's what I prefer to do. And you see that I do less and less with each of the darker shades, because this very dark one I just want in the areas where there's going to be the most shadow. So mostly towards the centre and where the petals are overlapping each other. So that's the fully coloured panel. I think it's really pretty. So all I'm going to do is add on this thank you. So this is just one that I've die cut in 2 different colours, and I've just inlaid the thank you into the darker piece. It's using these stitched rectangle sentiments from A Pocket Full of Happiness. So I'm just going to add that on with some foam pads and leave the rest, because I want the colouring that I've spent a lot of time doing to shine. So that's the finished card. So then for my next card, I'm going to heat emboss this in clear embossing powder and do an Emboss-resist technique. And actually, although I cleaned my stamp, obviously didn't do a good enough job because you can still see faintly the lines of the ink. So I'm actually going to heat emboss it in white embossing powder rather than clear. So then I'm going to use a blending brush to blend some Distress Oxide ink over those flowers and really make them pop. So I'm starting from the centre and I'm adding on some Kitsch Flamingo. And you can see how when you add that colour, you really start to see those flowers come out. So then I'm going to go in with the Dusty Concord from the outside. And then I'll just add a small amount of Villainous potion right around the edge, just to darken up those edges. And then I'll go back into the middle with some more Kitsch Flamingo. So I'm just going to grab a piece of kitchen towel and just rub off any excess ink. You can see that really brightens up that white. So then I'm going to glue this onto my card front. So then I've cut these out using the Happy Birthday Word die set. It's also from Picket Studios. And basically you get the words to make this kind of blocky happy and then the scripty birthday. So I've cut the happy out in gold and the birthday out in black. And I'm going to pop those across. But I'm going to just use some foam strips to add a bit of depth to the happy. Then a little trick, if you're trying to line up die cut letters and you've got a grippy mat. This one's the one from inside my stamp wheel, but there's loads of different ones on the market now. I've got some really nice ones from Diamond Press as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up where I want them, and then I'm going to pop this across here. I can make sure that it's lined up on my grid mat here, and then I can press it down onto that grippy mat, and that grippy mat is going to hold that paper in place, and then I can line the letters up with my piece of paper, and I don't have to worry about like pencil lines or temporary adhesive or anything like that. So I can line it up and then just remove the piece of paper without causing any problems for myself. So I can remove my piece of paper, and that's really nicely lined up. Then I'll add a little bit of glue to this birthday. So then we've got this lovely finished card with a really different look to the first one. So then for my final card, I've stamped the image in black again, and I've just coloured parts of the stamp. So I've chosen parts that don't sit behind anything else. Like I wouldn't choose this one because it's sat behind this leaf, for example. And then I'm just going to cut those bits out. So then I'm going to go for a pretty clean and simple look. So I've added on Happy Birthday with that same die set, and I've added some foam tape behind that again. I've just done it in the opposite colours, so the happy in black and the birthday in gold. And then I'm going to add on our florals with some foam pads. So then I'm going to cut off the excess. I always find that easier to do from the back, because then you can use the back of the card as a guide for where to cut. And I'm just actually going to add on this little bit that I've got left over here onto here as well. And then that's that final card finished. So there are our 3 cards for today, and I think we've got 3 really different looks from one stamp. So I hope it's given you some ideas for using your background stamp. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd love to know which one's your favourite card. Please do let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a pictures playlist if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.